Alright guys, before we get into this review and discussion on One Piece chapter 1095, I first wanted to thank you guys for 100 views on my first video. I know it's not a lot, but for me it means a lot that many people even took the time out of the day to click on the video. So I just want to say thank you guys for that. We're on the road to 10 subscribers right now. Other than that, bro, let's get into this amazing chapter. So far, Egghead has been probably arguably the best arc in One Piece from a manga standpoint, if I'm being completely honest with you guys. It's not hinging on being entirely too long. The arc's been going on for about a year and a half now. So the arc's not going super long. And I have a couple of things that I think is actually gonna happen by the time chapter 1100 hits. But before we do that, let's get into like what actually happened in this chapter. The name of the chapter is A World Where You'd Be Better Off Dead. And the cover story is actually Buggy chasing a monkey with his nose. But I actually find the name of this chapter pretty interesting because it's really true. The One Piece world is very corrupt and evil and is ran by the fucking devil. First thing, that stab didn't do nothing to Bonnie, and the whole poisonous blood thing, or like being able to spit blood, seems to not be something Oda's gonna be using. But this man Saturn basically little girl Bonnie. He basically said if he didn't want to be stabbed, he could have dodged it. Takes the sword out of his beard and it regenerates. Now, I believe this is my last video or my video before that. I did say that I did believe that the Gorosei were immortal and that they had the immortality surgery done on them by the OP no Mi. She stabbed him in his neck. In my opinion, supports the fact that these guys cannot be killed by any regular means, which makes them so powerful. Also, Sanji's no match for Saturn. Saturn just stares at Sanji and he just gets blasted. His face is covered in blood. Sanji's not looking too well right now, and the Gorosei stocks are rising as we speak. This does lead me to question though, how are we going to defeat the Gorosei if they are immortal, and how strong are these guys exactly? Because this is a lot of people that not only the Straw Hats but the world government will have to fight. I have seen a lot of videos though discussing maybe it will not be Luffy and them to defeat the world government, be the revolutionaries to defeat the world government, because this is what Dragon has been looking to do for basically his whole entire life. But it does seem that Oda's going for this God versus devil analogy and metaphor with Luffy and Emu. So I'm thinking, I don't know how Oda's gonna do this, but I'm really excited to see what he does. As we see, the Straw Hats are surrounded by the Vice Admirals, and honestly, it's not looking good for these guys. Luffy and Kizaru are both out of commission. Luffy got Kizaru unable to move, and that is the same attack he actually hit Kaido with. Kaido's able to get up. Kizaru can't move because he got hit so hard. Luffy stocks up, Kizaru stocks down. I do not care. We didn't see Saturn trying to kill Luffy basically by stabbing him with his foot, but Frankie comes to the save and hits Luffy with a strong right and actually gets him out of harm's way just in time. We do see, however, Luffy's bleed from that strong right, and from the looks of it, Luffy's still conscious, but Gear 5 has him completely out of play. Like, Luffy's done. I am wondering, however, if Luffy's like this because maybe his consciousness transferred into that big ancient robot or something, because Gear 5, the Drums of Liberation, did activate the robot. So maybe Luffy doesn't realize it yet, or maybe I don't know what's going on, but let's just keep reading. What makes the Straw Hats so different is the fact that these guys aren't really pirates. They're more of they're more like adventurers. Saturn says that these guys are interesting. They're the type of pirates that stick together. Luffy and the Straw Hats, they care about their crewmates. They care about each other. I'm pretty sure Saturn's used to sing pirate, abandon, kill each other, and ride each other, but the Straw Hats aren't that type of people. Basically, it's not looking good for the Straw Hat. Luffy's out of commission. Saturn is squeezing the life out of Bonnie, and they're surrounded by the Vice Admirals. I don't know how these guys are gonna get out of this. This is seeming to be Sabaody part 2, but we still have Kuma. Now, Kuma could be the one to come save the Straw Hats, and that's a very plausible theory, but I also think there's gonna be somebody coming along with Kuma that's gonna defeat Saturn, and we're gonna get into this once we finish reading the chapter. In this next panel, we basically have Saturn talking to Vegapunk. Saturn is basically saying it's a shame, Vegapunk was a great asset. Basically giving him a little speech before he gets ready to, off Vegapunk. Also find it funny that, like about 10 chapters ago when we first seen Saturn didn't want to hurt Bonnie, but now he's basically squeezing the life out of her. And then it's actually revealed that Saturn is the one that ordered for Kuma to lose all his consciousness, which makes sense because Saturn is the god of scientific defense. Also before that, we see that this mysterious power that has Vegapunk, Frankie, and Sanji unable to move. I'm guessing this is his devil fruit ability, maybe like a spider web of sorts. And I'm thinking that maybe the only way to break out of this, as we know, is probably having stronger Haki than Saturn. So like I said, I don't think this would trap a Kizaru or a Luffy because they have strong Haki. But for Sanji, Frankie, and Vegapunk, which Sanji has shown the ability to Sanji has shown to have a specialty in observation haki, and has shown the ability to be efficient in the use of armament haki. He doesn't have conquerors. His haki overall is probably not stronger than Saturn. Next here, we actually see Saturn reveal the name of the race that's Kuma is part of, the Buccaneer race, who actually apparently committed a huge crime against the world government. In these next panels, we see that Bonnie's having a flashback with Kuma actually telling Bonnie of the sun god Nika. And we actually see Sanji and Vegapunk begging for her life because she's about to die. Next, it's time for the good shit. We see the birth of Kuma, and soon after the birth, his DNA samples got leaked to the government, revealing his race, and they cap his mother. But we don't spend a lot of time on that. Next, we fast forward a little bit, and it seems to be that they're slaves. We see how cruel that the Celestial Dragons are, treating these guys just because they're of a different race. Some savages, absolutely ain't for shit human beings, deserve to die. Can't wait till they're defeated. We see Kuma's father speaking to him about Nika, and he starts dancing, and a celestial dragon ends up killing him because he's making too much noise. Knowing this really explains why Kuma is such a quiet individual. Every time we see Kuma when he had his mind, he really didn't say much. He had a very calm demeanor about him, and this seems to be why. His father got killed right in front of him because he was making too much noise. Jump forward about 10 years in the future. This is now 38 years ago in the West Blue. We get the God Valley flashback, and I think the next two chapters we're gonna figure out what happened in God's Valley. God's Valley is not the island where the Celestial Dragons dwelled. It's an island where the Celestial Dragons decided to host a Hunger Game and killing these races that are a threat to the government and and probably the seekers that they hold. And actually, they chose God Valley just because how dare you name this island God? You're not God, you're insects, right? And first thing we see is the king of God Valley gets sliced up by no one else than Saint Garland Garling. Now, I don't know about y'all, can't lie, Garland cold. Garland cold. He got the moon head. He looks a lot like Shanks. He just has a nose very similar to Robin. But with his facial structure and stuff, he looks a lot like Shanks. I think it's being set up that Garling is Shanks' father. We see that Garling is actually very popular among the ladies, and the ladies are going crazy over him. We then see Saint Saturn 38 years ago, looking the exact same as he does in the present day. He's immortal. Next panel, we have Kid Kuma. We see he's on God's Valley, and we actually see young Ivankov and a new character named Jenny come up to him and asking, does he want to live, and what is he gonna do about it? 10 out of 10 chapter. We do have a break next week, and we all know that off of breaks, Oda likes to come in with the heat. So we're probably going to get the God Valley flashback for chapters 9, I'll say 96, 97, 98, 99, maybe 96, 97, depending on how in-depth Oda wants to go into this. Until we get to chapter 1100, that is. Last video, I did say that I believed that Jenny was going to be Luffy's mother just based off the fact that she was a short-haired girl that liked to eat meat. But I then remembered that Bonnie was introduced. She was eating a big leg of meat. Another thing that really made me rescind my point about me saying that Jenny was probably going to be Luffy's mother, even though Oda said that he wasn't going to introduce his mother because she's not important to the story, is in the color spread, Jenny has pink hair. And oh, another thing, Garland has red hair. That is Shank's daddy. Right now, it's not looking so good for the Straw Hat. I don't know exactly how they're gonna get out of this. I do believe Kuma is gonna come, but I believe that Dragon and the Revolutionaries will come to Egghead Island and defeat Saturn. And this is not because I don't think Luffy could do it. It's just because he's out of commission because Gear 5 obviously has a stamina issue. I doubt Kizaru's gonna do much left in this arc in terms of going against the Straw Hats because he obviously does not want to do this job of killing Vegapunk. If we do see him again, I don't know. I think this is going to be important for Kizaru actually in his character development because he's really a go with the flow type of dude. So I think this is really going to change his outlook on things, and we might actually get Kizaru living the Marines, believe it or not. In terms of the God Valley flashback, I'm very hyped to see what's going on because when Sengoku described the God's Valley flashback, he made it seem like, oh, this is the place the gods lives, and this crazy rocks came and tried to kill the Celestial Dragons and Roger, and Garp had to team up to go against them. And this also adds that Roger helped the Celestial Dragons. And while this can be true, God's Valley seems to have a lot of things going on that just changes a lot of what I originally thought happened at God's Valley. And I'll actually be making a video on that next week during the break week. Also, if Saturn is on God's Valley, did Saturn fight in God Valley? Is this why Kaido and Big Mom didn't want to go against the world government? Because they seen the power of one of the Gorosei, and Saturn, since he was the first one introduced, he's probably the weakest one. I'm just saying. But with all that being said, hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll be having some discussion videos coming out next week. And yeah, hope you guys have a great day. I love you guys, man. Praise Jesus. Be you.